Hello, everybody. This is Sree from Biz Buzz. What matters the most in your business? Sponsored by MyWorkbelt. MyWorkbelt is a business operating system for service-based small businesses, particularly. If you are a small business with providing service as a roofing company or HVAC or marketing or even for that matter as a CPA firm, and if you have not looked at it, would highly recommend you to check us out on myworkbelt.com. And now coming back to our podcast, we have Greg Peiffer today, and Greg is being a sales coach and born in Utah and moved to Indiana, located in Indianapolis, and Greg has been helping a lot of small businesses and large corporations who are in the sales team, helping them on closing the transactions and how to make it easy for presenting the sales presentations. Greg, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Excellent. How is the weather out there in Indianapolis today?
It's been pretty good until today rolled around. We've got hit with some rain. It cooled down a little bit, but the weekend's looking to be pretty nice. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I wish you a great weekend then.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Excellent. So, Greg, when you are in your experience of training the salespeople and teaching the salespeople on the different concepts, give me particularly when you are training the small businesses, is there any difference between your teachings that training a small business people or a small business owners?
That is a good question. It's a question that comes up often, and the short answer is no. From a foundational and fundamental approach, at the end of the day, sales is all about the relationship, and so it doesn't matter whether you're selling a small product or solution or a very large, complicated product or solution. If that relationship isn't established, if you don't truly understand the customer needs, then that deal is going to fall apart, right? So it's important to approach that sales process the exact same, regardless of whether it's small or large, because that is what ultimately drives that solution forward.
Mm. So, but before COVID, back in 2020, everybody was running on the road and connecting with the people and developing the relationships. Now, COVID hits and a lot of things broken into a long-term relationships opposed to the in-person relationships, Zoom and online coming into picture. With respect to the sales, what is that technique that you have helped your customers in doing this Zoom sales opposed to in-person sales? Have you done anything different than otherwise?
Yes, there's a piece of communication that gets lost when we're communicating via Zoom or if we're in person, right? Like what 80% of our communication is through body language.
Correct.
So when I'm conducting sales conversations or even coaching conversations via Zoom, the critical component is that video has to be involved. A lot of
Mhm.
people can be a little camera shy. It can be a little awkward to be on camera sometimes.
Right.
Not everybody's open to it, but it is critically important to make sure that we can actually see each other and have that human
Uh-huh.
connection, even if we can't be in the same room.
Excellent. No, thank you very much. Well, obviously, in this case, your body language is given by substituted by the camera. Although you may
Yeah.
not be seeing the whole body, but at least your facial expressions and you're smiling or you're frowning, you can clearly see through the facial expressions. Particularly when you are in a sales meeting, it is important you want to be able to see the expression of your prospect, whether they're going in a right direction or they're going in a wrong direction, at least through the facial expression, you'll be able to uh, bring back right direction. Am I right?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You can't accomplish that over the phone, right?
Yeah.
Or if that camera is off, it's not uncommon for somebody to be listening while the other person is talking, but
Right.
you can see their facial expressions change as that conversation continues. That kind of lets you know, am I going in an uncomfortable direction? Do I need to dial this back? Do I need to take a different approach?
That's right. So if it is it is it there a difference between a business owner doing the sales or a sales profession just joining a small business and doing the sales? How is that different between those two people? But in your observation, at least.
Yeah, the how on what right looks like shouldn't be different, right? The business owner should conduct the sales process the same way that the salesperson does, and vice versa. A lot of times, what I have found tends to be the difference is the stature that they walk into that sales conversation with, and it's particularly more challenging for the salesperson, especially
Mm-hmm.
when the decision maker that they're selling to is another business owner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So take yourself, the CEO of your company.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into that sales conversation with another CEO,
Mm-hmm.
you are perceived as being on the same level, the same stature. If a salesperson doesn't have a good internal barometer of who they are as an individual, it's easy for them to show up to a sales conversation thinking and believing
Mm-hmm.
and feeling and acting like they are less than that other person. At the end of the day, we're both people. We're both here to solve the same problem. So oftentimes those salespeople, we need to work on their thought process, their mentality when they come into those conversations to make sure that they can speak to those high level decision makers with the same level of authority.
I see. I see. Great. Thank you very much. Now, if you would be asked to give two tips on closing a sale, what would you be the primary tips that you would offer?
The my thought process about closing should happen consistently and constantly throughout the sale. If you're waiting
Ah,
until you get to the quote unquote sale or the quote unquote close step of your sales process, it's too late. So I guess tip number one would be look for small micro commitments and small closes throughout the process. It's our
mm,
job as salespeople to facilitate decisions, not to
mm,
close deals, right? Um, as a second tip, it's going to be truly understanding your customers' needs and, if necessary, disqualify that prospect. A
mm,
lot of times, salespeople, they want the deal so bad that they will more or less fight with a prospect to close a deal that just isn't the right solution. And
mm.
sometimes that happens, and it's okay. But as a professional salesperson, it's our responsibility to also disqualify prospects as much as we qualify them.
Excellent. Now, Greg, thank you very much for joining me today and sharing your knowledge and experience. And if I
Absolutely.
am looking at it, that you are suggesting the salespeople to continuously look for a smaller commitments and fulfilling those through the journey of the sales.
Absolutely.
At the end, these smaller commitments and fulfilling those commitments will help you to close the final transaction, which is a big win for all of us. And if you were to
Absolutely.
be a salesperson working for a small business, if you are not the business owner, when you are going into the sales presentation, Greg, you are suggesting that have the posture, gain the confidence that you will never be equal to the owner of the business or a CEO of the company, but at least going into the sales presentation with a greater confidence will help you close the transactions. Is that fair
Absolutely.
summarization of what we are conversing here?
That is very fair.
Excellent, excellent. Greg, thank you very much for joining me today on the call. I greatly appreciate your time and your presence here. And I wish you good luck. And for you, particularly, wish you a wonderful weekend tomorrow.
Sree, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. You have a great weekend as well.